Good evening. Welcome to Small Home Comforts. My name is Beth and I'm here in my book corner. And tonight I am delighted to be welcoming Jen of Jen's Reading Life into my book corner. And we're going to be talking about middle grade novels. And so I'm going to hope that it will work because, as you know, technology is not always on my side. So let me see if we can. Let me see if I can get this going. So if you are here, I'd love for you to say hello in the chat while we're waiting for Jen to join us. And like I said, we're going to talk about middle grade March. So while we're waiting for her, let me see. Bear with me, you guys. As you know, I have sometimes issues with, you know, with this trying to get to join. So let's see if it will. Let's see if it will work. So I'd love to say hi in the chat. Let me see. Thank you, Elizabeth, for noticing my tulips. I was looking for something to brighten my day, so my husband went out and got those for me. So I am ready for spring. Are you guys ready for spring too? I'm so ready. I think that they're just such a nice touch for spring. So let's see. Okay, I see Jen is here. So see if let's see if it connects. Hi, Martha. I see you here. Nice to see you. Okay, hold on. Again, we're going. Let's hope this works. It's giving me an unable. Jen, if you can hear me, if you're there, it's telling me unable. So let me again try. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. I don't know why Instagram does this to me every time. But in the meantime, we will get cozy with our tea while we figure it out. What tea are you drinking tonight? Let me know in the comments. I am drinking a strawberry coconut cream tea, which is which I included in the first book box that I ever had. I love it so much. Jen says she's here, so let me see if I can. Martha is drinking biscuit brew Yorkshire tea. Ooh, that sounds delightful. Yay, you're here. And guess what? I can see
you.
Hey! Amazing. Oh my gosh, what a gift to me. That's amazing. Oh, I'm so happy. Elizabeth is saying that that's so tasty. That sounds tasty. Martha was just saying that she has her biscuit brew Yorkshire tea. Doesn't that sound
Oh my
yummy?
gosh. Okay, so I don't have tea. I'm not drinking tea right now because it's going to be dinner time for me in just a little bit as soon as I get off of here. But I wanted to share, I just got this tea in the mail today. And I've had the biscuit brew, but this is caramelized biscuit brew. So I'm going to try this tonight. I'll report back to everybody, let you all know what I think of it. But yes, I'm very excited for this. So I'm hoping it's got kind of good malty, caramely taste to it. So we'll see.
I see the Yorkshire tea over and over again, and I still have not tried it. So I need to get on that.
So good.
So that's what Martha's drinking tonight. Marina is drinking the Valentine's Day tea by Harney and Sons. Ooh, that sounds festive. And Karen has, oh wait, I lost it. Karen has berry zinger with passion flower. Did you make it yourself, Karen? Karen makes her own teas. So I wonder if she made that one herself.
Yeah. I am I buy my tea.
Have I ever made my own? I don't think so. I buy mine as well. So she's got to be really talented to be able to do that.
Very.
Well, welcome. I'm so glad to invite you in tonight. Thanks for joining me. It's always such a pleasure to talk to you.
Yes.
So we thought we would talk tonight about middle grade March, but before we get into that, I'm sure everybody here knows you, but just in case, you want to kind of introduce yourself quickly and
Absolutely. Hello, everyone. I'm Jen from Jen's Reading Life, and I am here on Instagram, and I have a BookTube channel also, so you can find me in those two places. I have been here on Bookstagram since, I think, 2018 was when I started my account at the end of 2018. So, gosh, it's been a while that I've been here. And then I just started my booktube channel last year in February. So it's just been 1 year that I've been doing that. And it's just so fun to share books. I love to talk about books and connect with other book lovers. And Beth and I have connected through this wonderful community. And that has been so fantastic, as I have connected with so many others of you all who are watching and others as well. But yeah, I just love this community. It's so, so welcoming and cozy. And yes, so
I agree. I agree. It's something I think that I didn't really know existed, but I knew the books that I loved.
Mhm.
And so I just kind of started searching out other people who loved the same kind of books. And it's amazing that there are so many, you know, because I read a lot of not current, or what do you call them, new releases. And so
Yes.
I like to see.
And well, when I first started Bookstagram, I had a really hard time. Like, it took me a couple of years before I really, maybe 3-4 years before I really found like my niche of people who really love the same books that I love. So it took a while, and I was sort of like, I would stop posting on Instagram because it just didn't feel like a good space to me necessarily. And it just didn't feel like, I felt like I was reading so many books that were being recommended by people that I just wasn't enjoying. And
Yeah.
then once I found my people, now it's like, oh my goodness, I read so many wonderful books. It's
Yeah.
just fantastic.
I agree. I agree. I love it too. I enjoy that too. What was I going to say? My brain went sideways. Sorry.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we were just talking about connecting. Well, you just started your Patreon account too, and so there's just like even more bookish goodness to discover, right?
Yes,
I have found that.
absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
I started watching your booktube right away. Like I think your first YouTube video when that went up, I was like, I saw it right away. So I've been following you the whole time, and it's such good recommendations. So
Thank you. Like, the one thing I think I got tired of, both on Bookstagram and Booktube, was just seeing the same books talked about over and over and over again. And there are so many books out there, books from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 150, 200 years ago. Like, why aren't we talking about all these amazing books out there? Just because they're not, hot off the press. I think that standing the test of time means something. And those books are still around. They're still available. They're still being published for a reason.
yeah,
Because wonderful books. So yeah, it brings me joy to talk about books that I love. When somebody comes on my YouTube channel and says, oh my gosh, I've never heard anybody talk about, XY book before. You're the first person. And that just makes me feel so good, because it's like, yes, I love to share books and help people find those hidden gems, because they're out there, but they are sometimes hard to find.
I am with you on that. I always want, because I think I grew up with so many books that I loved, and I wanted to find more of those same kind of books. And so like when you start with like Little Women, you start with Anne of Green Gables, you start with Laura Ingalls Wilder, and you want to like kind of move beyond that. That's what I wanted to do. Not beyond as in like I don't want to sit with those two,
Right.
but if you love these, what else are you going to love? Something in a similar vein, or some, with that same kind of vibe, which is why I usually say like vintage vibe, because it's, you kind of just want that same feeling. And where do I go from here? If I want to read more, where do I go from here? That's why I love your channel, because it's very much like that, like if I love this, where do I go from here? So
Thank you. Yeah. Yes. Well, that's my goal, is to help you find other similar books to things that you already are enjoying, because you should read what you love. Don't ever let anybody make you feel like you have to read something, because you don't.
I agree. I agree. Well, we thought we'd talk about middle grade March tonight, so maybe we'll segue into that, because I feel like I love middle grade March, and I just recently found out about it. So I had to do a little digging today to figure out, like exactly where it came from. Because I think I discovered it maybe like a year ago, I think probably last March. So it's very recent to me. And so I wrote in my notes that it was started by Krista and Katie, or Katie and Krista, I think. And then Amanda joined, I think, a little bit later, is what they said on their website. And it's Books and Jams, Life Between Words, and On the Middle Shelf are their account. But this is saying that it started in 2018, so I guess it's been going on for a while.
Yeah, I think so. Because I first discovered them in 2020, I believe, was the first year I did. So this is my fifth year doing middle grade March.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then but they definitely wasn't their first year when I discovered them. So, yeah, I think that sounds about right.
I love it because middle grade is just not only is it nostalgic, but they're just good books, you
They
know, so you get a little bit of both.
absolutely, absolutely. I think one of the things that I love about middle grade is that you can discuss topics that like I don't want to read about in an adult novel that are too like my sensitive soul. They're just things I can't read about. But in a middle grade book, those same topics can be touched on in a way because they're being written for children, that doesn't give me that same like feeling of anxiety or make me upset in the same way as when I read a book that's written for an adult. So I think it's a good way to like read about topics and things that maybe you couldn't read about otherwise. And they're good books. I mean, was it C.S. Lewis who said that, it's not a good children's book. It shouldn't just be for children. It should be for,
Right.
be able to enjoy it. Like that's not a good book.
Yeah.
If adults read a children's book, it's just not a good book,
Right.
period. So yeah.
Right. I love it. Well, we would love to hear some of either your favorites or your recommendations.
Sure. Well, we could be here all
I
night.
I know. I was putting together like a pile over here for myself, and I was like, I mean, we're never going to get to all these between her pile and my pile. There's no way.
No, I know. Well, I thought I tried to grab a few at least that I didn't, because I just put out a YouTube video talking about 10 middle grade books that I recommend
Okay.
for the middle grade March prompts that they're doing this year.
Oh,
So
okay.
for this video, I'd maybe pull some other books that I didn't talk about in that video. And I'm sure some of them fit the prompts. I know they fit the prompts, but I didn't pull them specifically for that. They're just books that I, have really loved, but haven't
So
talked
there
about.
was a question on one of the prompts because it said set in the 1900s, and somebody said, okay, does this mean like the whole century, or does this mean like 1900 to 1909? And I didn't see the answer to
Oh,
that. How did you take it? I took it as the whole century.
I took it as the whole century too. And that
Okay.
I watched Krista's, like her video where she was pulling books that she was going to read, and she was picking books that were written in like the 70s and 80s. So it's
Okay. Okay.
and really, I mean, the way they are with their prompts, they're sort of like make of it what you will. So if you want to 1900 to 1909, do that. That would be really interesting.
Yes.
You don't have to. So
Okay. All right.
but so the first book I'm going to mention is, let me see. This is one actually that I just read last year, and it's one I wish I'd read as a kid because it was so fantastic. And I think I probably didn't read it because I didn't like the cover of the library's copy, and I was very influenced by what covers looked like. And that was The Witch of Blackbird Pond by Elizabeth George Speare. And this is such a fantastic book. And
Absolutely.
yes, featuring my favorite type of heroine, the young, plucky female character. I love a girl with gumption. And let's see, who is our main Kit Tyler? She's our main character.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just fantastic, set during the time of like the Salem witch trials. And it is just such a good story of a young girl just forging her way through life and finding her way in the world and standing up for what she believes to be right. And I just think this is a great book that kids should still be reading today, and adults should read. If you haven't read it, you will love this. I
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rebecca is saying that it was one of her favorite books growing up. I don't know if you can see the comments too or not, but and Elizabeth is saying, I'm reading that one for the first time this month.
Hey,
It is
Elizabeth.
such a good book. I
Oh,
read it as a kid, and I remember loving
mhm.
it. And then this past year, I don't know if you remember, I did a interview with Cordy of Books with Cordy
Oh,
last month. And she runs just an online, very laid back book club on Instagram. And it's just Cordy's book club. And last fall, this was her pick for the fall quarter. And I was like, oh, good. I want to revisit this one as an adult. It stands the test of time. I loved it again. It was just
I
fantastic.
know. know. I'll be definitely rereading it. It was so, so good. It's a great fall read. I think
Yes.
it's kind of the weather and just the time period and stuff for some reason just feels fallish, but it's good.
Agreed.
It's just a great book. So
Yeah. The Bertram Bunch is saying that's Melissa's putting on her list now. And Martha said she read it as a child and will have to read it again. You guys are going to love it. I think it's just so good.
it's good. It's a great one. Okay, and then next is another book. Actually, it's by an author who I think is fairly well known, but I don't hear this particular book of hers talked about all that much, and that is Love That Dog by Sharon Creech. Do you know this book?
I don't know this one.
Okay, well, it's written in verse, so it is super, super short. I mean, you could probably read it in almost just like one sitting, or maybe two. But it is about this little boy, Jack, and his teacher is making them write poetry, and he does not want to write poetry. But it's just about him, and there's a dog involved, and sort of how this teacher sort of brings something out of Jack that Jack I don't think knew was in there. And this is so fun. There's a sequel to it called Hate That Cat, which I didn't love quite as much as this one, but this book is just, it's so lovely. And I really want my son to read this. I think he would really like it. And I think it's a great book for boys. I mean, it's good for girls too, but I think, sometimes boys can feel like maybe poetry and those kinds of things aren't for them. And I think this is a great book to kind of introduce them to the idea that they can read and write and do whatever they want, just like girls can. So
Awesome. When is that one published? I've never seen this one before. What year?
It was published. I think I heard about this because my aunt is a third grade teacher, and I think she told me 2001. So it's been out for a while.
It has been.
Yeah.
I've never heard that one. Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
Different. I don't know.
Walk Two Moons, I think, is probably her most, which is also another great middle grade book. If you haven't read Walk Two Moons, I highly recommend it. Well,
I don't know this author.
Yeah, Sharon Creech is fantastic. So really.
Elizabeth is saying that one sounds lovely. And Rebecca, I think she was talking about who was the other? What was the last one? Witch of Blackbird Pond. She said she read it last year and loved it. So there's lots of love for Witch of Blackbird Pond.
Great book. It's like a class. I feel like it's a classic.
I think so. Yes.
Middle grade book for a reason.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. That's Elizabeth George Speare, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she also wrote The Sign of the Beaver, I think. Did you ever read that one?
No, I haven't. That's on my
one. That one's a good one. I read that aloud to my kids. I read it as a child myself, but then I read it aloud to my kids, and that was one of our favorites, I think, a few years ago. Okay. So, that one's a very good one, too.
Yeah, I definitely want to read more by her because I love that book so much. Her writing is excellent.
Yeah,
so.
very, very good. Awesome. Cool.
Okay. All right. So my next book, I gushed about this book last year. It was one of my favorite books of 2024. I read it during middle grade March last year, and it is actually a nonfiction middle grade book. And that is Some Writer, The Story of E.B. White. And this is, I just want to hug it because I love it so much.
Fantastic. So fantastic.
If you've read Charlotte's Web and Stuart Little and Trumpet of the Swan and all those wonderful books that E.B. White wrote for kids, read this book because it is so fantastic. And the author, who is Melissa Sweet, and she has done, it's sort of like this multimedia.
Yeah, can you show them? Perfect. I look good.
There's one. She's done like collages. There are photographs. There's E.B. White. There's just, all kinds of just interesting structure to the book. I think it's great for kids, like a first biography for someone to read. But I just adored this. I fell in love with E.B. White even more than I already loved him from his books. But this is, so I can't recommend this enough.
Yeah. I think I got that one out of the library, and that was one of those that like I should have probably just turned around and bought it because I think I just left it on my shelf. I just didn't want to return it to the library.
Yeah.
Like I was done reading it and I was like, no, I'm just going to leave it here sitting on my shelf so I can look at it.
Yes. Oh, it's so beautiful. Like the outside of it is beautiful. Inside is beautiful. I mean, even look at the end pages. I mean, just
I love it.
Gorgeous.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just
yes. End paper
so
is
well
so my favorite.
Yes.
That's such a good one. Elizabeth is talking about, what did she say? I think she was talking about the last book, Sharon Creech. She also wrote Bloomability.
Oh.
I don't know that one either. Elizabeth said she loves that one.
She's written a lot.
Okay. And I don't think I've even heard of her. So I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, Bloomability is in this list here. She's written, I've read these two in this series, and I've read Walk Two Moons. And then I feel like she has something that's fairly recent. Now I'm blanking on what the title of it is, but I mean, she's quite prolific. I mean, she's sort of along the lines of like Kate D. Camillo and other writing. I mean, they're very different writers, but like in terms of how much middle grade they're putting out, like very similar, I think.
So I'm gonna have to look into it because I don't know her work.
Yeah. So
see, this is why we like to talk to bookish people. You get to learn new things, find new discoveries.
Absolutely. Okay, I have another book. This is just like a sweet little story, and it's maybe slightly on the like younger end of middle grade, because it's got quite a few illustrations in it, but it's definitely a story. But that is The Adventures of Miss Petitfour. This is by Anne Michaels. Have you read this one?
I've heard of it, but I've not read it, but I have heard of it.
Yeah. So she, I love the little blurb on the back. It says, some adventures are just the right size, fitting into a single magical day. And these are the sort of adventures Miss Petitfour had. She has all of these cats, which wrap around to the back of the book, that live with her. And she does sort of fly around. And she just lives this lovely life where they like drink tea and they have, delicious baked goods. And she collects stamps and tells stories. And she's just,
awesome.
She's just lovely and super charming. And let me see if I can find one of the illustrations.
Just that cover alone. The cover almost reminds me of like a Mary Poppins kind of character. Is she anything like that?
Yeah, here she is with all her cats and her books. I think that's a great one.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
This is lovely. If you have a cat lover in your life, or just somebody who likes just like a sweet, simple story, I just think that this is just so lovely.
That sounds really good. I love that.
Light and fun, like sometimes, contemporary middle grade can be kind of hard hitting. It can touch on, like I said, those kind of difficult subjects. This is just good, clean fun. So if you're looking for
awesome. That's awesome. Well, Rebecca is saying in the comments, going back to Sharon Creech, she says, beware because Sharon Creech pulls your heartstrings. All of the books that she's read of hers have some very sad parts. Not bad, but hard. Right. So that's interesting.
Yes.
Because that's a little bit more, in a middle grade, you're, I don't know, like I said, I don't know anything about this author's work. Right. So it sounds like everybody else knows about her already.
Like young girl who's our protagonist in that, like her mother has died and she's dealing with that. So yes, it's definitely a difficult subject, but I think it's a good one for kids to read about. And I sobbed in Walk Two Moons. I just sobbed at the end, but like in a good cathartic type of way.
Okay.
And about middle grade books, I always feel like they pick you up at the end. Like even if they're pull on your heartstrings, they're gonna give you that. They're gonna lift you up ultimately.
I remember the one book that I like sobbed at, and in fact, it was one that my mom was reading out loud to my sister and me when I was when we were very young, and it was Where the Red Fern Grows. Oh my God. And I have never been able to revisit it, and I won't make my kids read it because oh my gosh, it was just
the dog is just like
I can deal with people dying, like in Little Women when Beth died, I cried. I think that was the first book that I cried, for. But I can still do that. But when the dog dies, I I can't do it.
Where the Red Fern Grows, that was the first book that made me cry. Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Oh, oh,
I know. Just yeah, kills you. I know.
it does.
Bad
But
thing.
somebody Rebecca just said Old Yeller
Oh,
did that to her. Yes. I don't think I actually read Old Yeller, but the movie, oh my gosh, it's the same. It's the same. So,
sort of Friends where Phoebe's mom like always turned Old Yeller off before Old Yeller dies, and so she thought Old Yeller was like this happy, uplifting story. It turns out they're all like, Phoebe.
that's not how that went. Oh, I haven't even had my kids watch Old Yeller because I know there'll be tears. So I just can't. But to your point, I think of like Betsy Tacy, which is admittedly a little bit on the younger side, I'd say,
Right.
for the very first one.
Yeah.
I think you said once the series grows with you.
It,
But the very first one, there is grief and sadness in that's handled so gently and so lovely. I read them, last year, but I'm reading to my daughter this year, and we just went through the first one, and it was she did kind of like stop and go, wait, like what's happening, what's going on, because it was just the processing they did was just so lovely, I thought.
absolutely.
So it is nice to see lots of, oh my gosh. Do you see all these comments about Where the Red Fern Grows? Rebecca says the author of Where the Red Fern Grows wrote Summer of Monkeys, and it redeems him as an author to me.
Oh, okay.
Melissa said Where the Red Fern Grows gets me every time. Oh my gosh. Rebecca, our entire fourth grade class sobbed at the end of Where the Red Fern Grows. Sobbed. I've never been the same. Rebecca, was your teacher sobbing too? Because that's how it was at our house as well.
I don't know how a teacher could read that. Like,
my mom couldn't get through it. We all were sobbing together.
I know. Well, I had a teacher read us Bridge to Terabithia, and that is another one.
Yeah.
That was, so, animals and kids dying.
Yes. Yes. Duchess says, oh, that's Melissa saying Matthew's death in Anne of Green Gables might have been the first book to make her cry. So yes, isn't that funny how we all remember, like, right? It sticks in your memory, right?
Book that made you cry, right?
Yes.
Yes. We're traumatized.
Yes. Yes. All right. Well, maybe let's move on from crying to.
Right. I know, even though we were just talking about this book won't make you cry. This book.
Yes. This is the upswing from that.
Exactly. Oh, and actually, well, another book that I don't think will make anybody cry, but is a classic, and actually one I read for the first time last middle grade March, and I am rereading it again right now, and that's Heidi by Johanna Spearing.
Oh, I love that edition. It's so beautiful.
Oh, I know. This Puffin and Bloom, these children's editions, they're just gorgeous. I know, like, normally I read like while I'm eating breakfast, and this book has to stay in my room because it has to stay pristine.
So pretty. It's so pretty. I have to just come in really quick and say my sister is here, and she's saying that the day where the Red Fern, we read Red Fern Grows lives in infamy. She said she'll never forget that day. So my sister just popped in and she's listening to me talk about our childhood memories.
I think
I'm sorry.
When that book across the room, I was so upset. Like, what did you just do to that dog?
Oh, that's funny. So you were saying Heidi lives in your room just so that it stays. So, oop, did you get it? Hold on. We can't see you. Can you hear me? I just lost. Oh, okay. There we go. Okay. There we go. I can hear you.
Sorry.
Okay.
It freaked out.
No, that's okay.
See? Technology.
Technology. You just have to roll with it, right?
Right.
The last time I had everybody who came had to wait, like, I think it was like 8 minutes before I could actually get my guest to come on. And so the people who stuck with me, I was just like, thank you for being here. Like, I'm trying. Anyway, back to Heidi and Beautiful Things.
I love Heidi. Again, she's sort of another one of those like plucky, intrepid heroines. She's just like this young girl, and she just plows through life. Like
Yeah.
she just
Optimist, eternally optimistic.
yes, absolutely. But not in like an annoying, grating kind of way, like good. She's not like goody two shoes. She's
No.
just like genuinely good. And she just sees all the beauty and wonder in the world. And, not everything goes perfectly smoothly for Heidi. But she just finds a way to like, find the bright side of life. And I just love her so much.
Yes.
She's just a great,
I
especially for
feel like she's very uplifting too to I'm trying to remember her name. Clara? Doesn't she kind of the girl in the wheelchair, was her name Clara?
It is Clara. It is. I'm like, I haven't quite gotten to that part where yes, Clara.
I feel like she's just so uplifting, she's just such a optimistic companion to some, to her, which is always really nice to have such an uplifting.
Much, to have a child taking care of another child, right? Because children can be very self-centered, and that's difficult sometimes for them to bridge that compassion for others, sort of outside of themselves. And I think Heidi does a great job of portraying that.
Yes. Yes. And I love that addition too. I love when a good book is married with a good cover.
Right? It's the best of both worlds. Yeah, I have the Little Women edition also in these Puffin and Bloom, so they're just beautiful.
Yeah.
You need to make more of them.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I have Anne of Green Gables, which is gorgeous, and I have Little Women too, but I don't have Heidi.
Yes. So gotta get Heidi. It's great.
Maybe put them all together. They can be sisters on the shelf.
They should be. Okay, let me see. All right, so the next, well, let's see. I did talk. Oh no, I haven't talked about that with this one this year either, I don't think. But this is a duology, and it's one that's deals with some difficult topics too, and one that definitely brought tears to my eyes for sure. But that's The War That Saved My Life by Kimberly Brubaker Bradley. And then the sequel is The War That I Finally Won. And yes, so we follow, let's see, Ada. And she has a club foot, and her mother never let her leave their apartment. She's sort of trapped. And then World War II is, they're on the brink of World War II, and children are being sent off to the countryside. And so her brother is being sent. Her mother isn't going to send her. But then Ada figures out a way. She teaches herself to walk, and she ends up going with her brother. And it's sort of the story of who they end up living with, and how Ada's life and her just entire world opens up, because there's a horrible thing going on in the world, but it really couldn't have been a better thing for Ada. Like, her life never would have changed if World War II hadn't happened. And it's such a wonderful story with such great characters. And yeah, I've read it twice. I've read both books twice now. And yeah, I don't know, maybe next year I'm gonna have to read them again. They're so good.
I read this one, but I have not read the sequel. So
it really does round out the story really well. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'll have to pick it up then, because I remember enjoying this one. This one kind of reminded me, and I think it was because of the, being sent off to the countryside, reminded me of A Place to Hang the Moon a lot. Yeah, the same kind of setting in that one. And I loved A Place to Hang the Moon a lot.
I did as well. Wow, that's a fantastic book. Ada doesn't go through, the kids in A Place to Hang the Moon, they kind of get sent through the ringer when they are sent out to the countryside. So Ada doesn't quite have that same experience. But she has her own, sort of inner struggle that she's going through. And she's, because she's had to sort of live on her guard with her mother, she's very, she has a quick temper. She's, she isn't able to let people in because she's very damaged from how her mother treated her. And so it's lovely to watch her blossom, and then even more so in the sequel. So
nice. Yeah. I will have to pick up the sequel. Yeah. Martha is saying in the comments that she loved the World War II book Number the Stars as a child. I love Number the Stars. I love that one. In fact, when we talked, did I talk to you about that on your channel maybe?
Yes,
did I? Because I loved that one as a child. I reread it as an adult. I always liked World War II I like that setting. I feel like there's kind of a lot of those right now, but I like finding some of the older ones, and this one is part of that. In fact, the new book that I'm just putting out in the spring book box, Listening Valley, part of it is in World War II as well, but it was written in 1944, and so they were like in the midst of it at the time. So I like to read more of the vintage ones to be like, how are they seeing it, because it's a little bit different than the way that they're talking about it now. So, oh my gosh, Karen is saying she loved Heidi too, but she cried when she's taken away from Grandpa and mountains to the city. Karen is remembering her crying too.
I know, but then Heidi and then it all comes beautifully to fruition.
Like we're saying, that's how it is with these middle grades, right?
It really is.
We can read them, we can cry, and then be uplifted at the end. So, yes, I love it. Elizabeth saying she loves Listening Valley as well. So it does. It has a nice. It's kind of like almost a couple different parts. It's the World War II part, but then there's the part before it too, which is the interwar years. So, it's not like a strictly World War II.
Yeah, I love that. And I think that's really true. Like books that were written during World War II, like they didn't know how it was going to end. They didn't know if it was going to end, So, and if they were going to come out victorious or if Hitler was going to take over the world. So, so that's a very different, I really like reading books where you're getting kind of that very much inside perspective. That's
Yes. Yeah, I do too. I think that it's because there's so many World War II books right now that, and I like them. Don't get me wrong, I like them. But it's just interesting.
Saturated with those books, though.
Yeah, I think so too. But it's such a cool setting. I one time heard somebody say that World War II is such a good setting because of all the heroism that happened at the time. There were so many stories around it, and there was like a very clear. They could see what they were fighting. They could see that, and it was just so clear that it made for good plots, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, when good versus evil, and it's very clear who's good and who's evil. So many stories from, just people from all different walks of life, were affected by this. That's why as a subject matter today. So. Yes. About stars. I mean, I remember when Number the Stars, I read it like probably when it came out. And there wasn't anything else other than like Anne Frank's diary, there weren't very many books for kids about World War II. So that was, one of the very unique ones at that time. And nowadays, but I think that one is a really good one for kids to read.
I agree.
Just, and getting sort of that, helping you understand the Jewish perspective, it just gives you, I don't know. I think kids need to be exposed to, other people, other cultures, other things. Oh shoot, I'm giving you the thumbs up. I always do generally. I'm gonna have you done that before? I think you can let's see if I can make it happen. Will it make hearts for me? There it goes. Love you guys.
Try. No, I gotta try. No, I don't think mine does it.
Do you have an iPhone? Because I think it's an iPhone. Yeah. So I think I can do, let's see what happens. There's 2 thumbs up. Yep, there we go.
Hilarious.
We're totally digressing.
Our day right there. That was awesome. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. Yeah. The things you didn't know you could do.
Right.
Martha taught in Poland. I'm sorry.
I said I didn't know it worked on Instagram. I've only ever done it on FaceTime. So
hilarious. Yeah. Oh, Martha is saying she taught in Poland for several years, and that made her more interested in World War II books. I could see that. That makes sense. Yes. I love hearing people's stories. Thank you for sharing that, Martha.
Yes. Fascinating. I would love to know more about that experience.
Yes. That sounds amazing. All right. Well, what else have you got for us? How are we doing on time? I'm going to just check here. Oh, maybe we have time for one more, I think.
One more?
Yes. Something.
I am going to share one that I actually did just share in my recent video, but it is just one of my very favorite recent sort of contemporary middle grade books, and that is Short by Holly Goldberg Sloan. Okay, so this is about a young girl, and so this book feels like it spoke directly to me personally because it's about a girl who gets a part in The Wizard of Oz as a munchkin because she is, as the title says, short. When I was in high school, I played the Wicked Witch of the West in The Wizard of Oz. And it was during, I think it was the 50th anniversary of The Wizard of Oz. And so there was all of this stuff, people were just, I have so much commemorative stuff from The Wizard of Oz because of the timing of my show and everything. And then I choreographed it as a musical for another children's theater when I was in college. And then to top it all off, the book is set at the University of Oregon, which is where I went to college. Wow. It was did this woman step into my life? What just happened here? But
it spoke to you directly too. I love that.
Yeah. But this is one of those books about a young person sort of not feeling like she knows where she fits in, and then finding her place. And, she has a family that loves her, but, sort of finding those friendships and that sort of family outside your family. And because theater really can be that for people, it was for me definitely growing up, just that you find people who are just speak the same language as you. And so it's really lovely. I think it's a great book for kids who feel like maybe they don't fit in and are trying to figure out their place, try new things, do something. You never know, what you're going to discover about yourself and new friendships and just people in your life who will, kind of lift you up and guide you. And it's just such a good book. I love it.
So good. Oh, I'm going to I think out of all the ones that you've said so tonight, I think this one and the one, and I can't remember the name of it, but where she's flying off with all her cats flying behind her.
Yeah.
Both of those, I'm going to have to look those up because those look amazing.
Highly recommend both of them. So.
Well, I try to ask everybody who comes on, if you could, because I love hearing the answers to this, if you could choose, you just have to pick one. Doesn't have to be your favorite, but just has to be one of any literary home. Which would you choose to either visit or live in? It could be either way.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick a house, basically any English cottage anywhere in England in the 1930s. Just sign me up. I'm gonna go there and live there. I just want to move in. But I'm gonna pick the house from the duology by D.E. Stevenson that I just read, which is Belle Lamington and Fletcher's End. And Fletcher's End is the name of the home in the second book. And they spend a lot of time, the house is almost like a character unto itself. And so they come in to hear about how they're, they have to clean out the house and set it up and do all these, renovations to it. And yeah, I just want to live there.
That sounds amazing. I love D.E. Stevenson. Obviously, I talk about her a lot.
Yes.
But, I love that. I have not read those ones. So I'll have to.
Out of print. I know. Dean Street Press needs to republish those too because they are so good. You can find them on Kindle and you can get them on Audible. I listened to both of them on Audible and they were fantastic. But yes, it had that very Rosamund Pilcher feel to them, just that kind of, they're just lovely.
Yes.
And yes.
I agree. I don't think I've read a D.E. Stevenson that I don't like. And the one that is probably my least favorite is going to probably get me kicked out of book circles everywhere. But Miss Bunkle's book was not my favorite.
I love Miss Bunkle, but I can understand actually, I don't think you're alone. I think a lot of people don't love Miss Bunkle. They think it's fine, but they don't love her.
I would like to read it. It was the first D.E. Stevenson that I read, and everybody was raving about it. And then I was like, okay, I'm going to try it. And I was like, it's okay. It wasn't that I hated it, But then when I read more of her books, I was like, oh, I wish I would have started here because then I could have, So anyway, I would like to revisit Miss Bunkle's book though, and I didn't read the sequels. I think I read The Four Graces, but I didn't read Miss Bunkle Married or anything, and I do want to read those ones.
Yeah, I think I mean, Miss Bungle married. So hard for me to decide, like, if I like that one the best or Miss Bungle's book the best. But I think once she gets married, it just adds a whole other dynamic to it. So
You
maybe
talked about that one. You talked about Miss Bunkle's Married, so that I was like, I got to do that one. Jen says it's good. I'm going to read it.
hope you like it.
I'm sure I will. I like D.E. Stevenson. It was just that Miss Bunkle's book was on the, it's still above a whole bunch of other books, you know, but it's just of hers, you know. So I totally lost my train of thought. Current read. We like to end with our current read.
Sure.
So I brought mine is, I didn't even get to my stack here because we just have too many things to talk. You know what I did want to talk about before I go to current read? Have you ever read Miss Piggle?
Yes.
I love Miss Piggle, or Mrs. Piggle, I'm sorry. And I don't see a whole bunch of people talking about this one, about the magical lady who lives in her upside down house down the street. She has a cure for everything. She's like a parent's best friend. Oh my gosh. I think so many of the stories stick in my head, but the one of them was the Tattletales, where the wisp of smoke would come out of their mouth if they were tattletaling. Right. And stay over them. I had to just mention that one really quick. But my current read right now is A Traveler in Time. Have you read this one?
I haven't. That's the Manderley Press, right?
You know what? No, I don't have a Manderley Press. This one is something I picked up at the library. What does it say? New York Review Children's Collection.
Okay, they have a similar look.
Okay, and I have heard so many good things about this book. Like every time I saw it on Miranda Mills' channel, and she recommended anything from Allison Utley. And so when I was going through, I get so many books from the library bookstore, from the library, what do you call it? Not bookstore. Like, yeah, they have a sale, like the library sale. Yes. And as soon as I saw Allison Utley, I was like, I don't know anything about this book, but I'm going to pick it up. And since then, I've heard more people talking about it, and everybody says it's fantastic. So I was like, this is what I'm going to read in March for my middle grade, you know, and see how it is. So I just started it, but that's my current read. Yes. How about you?
I'm reading the Cozy Reader Book Club book, which is Swallows and Amazons.
Have you read it before?
No, I haven't. So I also just started it. And actually, you know, so I have to just share this very funny story real quick. Let me see, where is it? So I got this book. I don't remember if I ordered it from Thrift Books or I got it at Half Price Books, one or the other. But you know how sometimes you just like find stuff in the book? So there is an article in here from the Wall Street Journal about Swallows and Amazons. This was written in 2017. They were reissuing Swallows and Amazons because the movie had come out or was coming out. And it's just all about the book, about Arthur Ransom. And I was just like, how lovely is that? Like, I got like a little extra little tidbit.
I love it.
I know.
How fun.
Right? So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Anyway, so but I think this is going to be a lot of fun. Like the kids
such a good book.
Live on an island and, you know, like take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And all that.
The mother is just like so laid back, you know, she's just like, let me outfit you for your, you know, camping trip away from me on this island. You know, they sail by themselves. Right. They have like a mystery they have to solve. They have to, I mean, it's just, you know, and then they meet these friends and they, you know, and then they become frenemies kind of. And it's just such a good book. And I didn't read it until adulthood. Right. I had heard about it, and I had not read it, but when I did, I was like, this is awesome. And if you like it, there's like, I think like 12 of them or something.
11.
I think. Yeah. Okay.
Right, yeah. It was quite prolific. Swallows and Amazon series, but yes, so I'm much looking forward to just a fun adventure story, you know,
fun.
Kids, which I think, you know, sometimes we don't get enough of that in books. And certainly kids today don't just get to be kids like even the way we got to be kids, you know.
Yeah. So, yes. Melissa from Duchess Inside is saying, I love finding little goodies in used books. Right. And there was something else. What did we say? Oh, Elizabeth loves Mrs. Piggle. Kelly said she was just talking about Mrs. Piggle, and Robin was like, Mrs. Piggle, yes, or she read them all. So much love from I did not see all these comments coming through. Look at all these Mrs. Piggle Wiggle comments. And Kelly's like, who's the boss around here? Do you remember that one where they had a parrot? Who's the boss around here anyway?
Revisit those. A couple of them to my son, but I haven't read a lot of them since I was a kid. So yeah,
so good. Yeah. They're so good. Kelly says there's an interesting subreddit about found papers. So like any like little papers that are in the books. And Elizabeth says she loves reading about what they eat in Swallows and Amazon. Ooh. They eat something called pemmican or something like this, and I don't even know what that is.
It says in this article what that is.
Oh, there we go.
Let me tell you. Let's see. Okay, so pemmican is corned beef. And they eat molasses, which is toffee, and grog, which is lemonade. But yeah, they have fish.
I didn't know grog was lemonade.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So pemmican is corned beef.
Awesome. Awesome. Now we know. It was probably tinned. They had a little can of it.
I have this in my book.
Like that. Awesome. Well, I'm going to let you go because I know it's your dinner time. So, but I appreciate you coming over to join me tonight. I'm sure everybody here knows you, but just in case you don't, Jen is at Jen's Reading Life, both here on Instagram and on YouTube. And just go give her a follow. She's got so many good suggestions, as you know by tonight. So,
well, thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
Thank you for coming. Have a wonderful night. I'll see you online.
Yes, I will see you. Bye, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for coming.
Good night.